Hi, this is Sean Lonnie. I'm the director for the Exploratorium Studio for Public Spaces. The Studio for Public Spaces has taken what we've learned over the last 40 years and applied that tool set to outdoor public installations. We've worked in San Francisco outdoors at national parks, at the Golden Gate Bridge, with a variety of partners from all over the Bay Area. We develop mid to large scale experiences. Many of them are immersive. They're content rich, but they're also inquiry based, which means we give people a lot of things to do on their own. In the end, they're the hero of the story. When they walk into these experiences, we consider it a kind of a set of circumstances in which they can invent things to do, and they control the situation. This is a project on Market Street called Pause. There are 3 installations there, but the most striking is the 10-foot listening vessel, which allows people to speak to each other from 50 feet away. You can whisper on Market Street to each other. The effect of this is interesting in that people are learning and people are playing in public, which is interesting. But what we've really done is change the social dynamic of a place. It's the perception of experience on Market Street is fundamentally shifted because of these kinds of installations. The exhibits are about a lot of things, but in the end, they're about people. And they're about how people perceive their environments. Perception is an underlying theme of the Exploratorium because our understanding of the world is profoundly affected by the way that we collect information through our senses. We thank you for having us look at this project in San Leandro. We've all been very excited about it for some time, and we've done a number of kind of developmental practice sessions in-house, thinking about the space, what it might be, what it's calling for, looking at how people move through the space and what the space might be. So we came up with these project goals to encourage communal creation, to create opportunities for open-ended inquiry. We want to reward a social investment. We want to increase discourse and dialogue through play. And mostly we want to entice people to linger and create a place where people can interact and thrive. We looked at the plan view of this site first, and even without having a solid idea, we wanted to get a sense for how people might flow through the space in the future. We see it has a hard time attracting people down. It's a bit of an investment. It's an open space. It's very pleasant. It's warm and light. There's not much wind coming through there that we could see. There is a focus point there that exists already with a fountain, which is a nice centerpiece. So we wanted to emphasize that view. And we wanted to emphasize the view from both the parking lot to the west and from people driving by on the east. So we did flow studies, and we started playing with early ideas at the same time we were working at flow, trying to bounce those ideas which are more perceptual and engaging, and they're playful, what might they be, but also how do they affect the space. And what we've come up with is this kind of enticement along the edge. It's a little less rigorous, and this is just a rough draft of an idea, so look more at the organization of the space than the actual thing at this point. The way that people hit those corners, it's a bit of a surprise. You're isolated from that alleyway until you're right on top of it, and then it kind of suddenly opens up, and then you pass it and you're gone. So how might you draw people down and really pique their curiosity and get them to invest that time and energy to move down that alleyway and to interact with that object and with each other? So we are constantly on the lookout for new ideas. The entire team has been thinking about this for a couple months. It turns out one of our guys, Adam, went up north to Seattle, and he found these beautiful sections of water pipes that it's a historic. You can see the hydroelectric dam in the background there. And what they've done is they've taken the old pipes that used to be in that system and they've cut them into rings, and they kind of spaced them out as a way of showing different building techniques for those rings. And they're actually quite beautiful sculpturally. And of course it's raining, you can see it's Seattle. And so she's kind of hovering, that's his wife, hovering underneath that ring. But they're striking structurally, and they're striking as sculptures. But what Adam found is that they make a beautiful sound. Now, we try not to encourage people to beat on things with sticks, but in this case, it's all he had, and the rings actually do make a beautiful sound. They're very resonant. You see him calling in the person doing the video. because being inside of it is actually quite striking, because the tones and the multiple tones and the complexities of the sound really, really ring and envelop you. It's not unlike an exhibit we have here called Resonant Rings, which have various rings on top of a speaker, and as you vibrate those rings at different frequencies, each of them gets excited because each of them are tuned to a certain frequency. So we were inspired by that idea, and we thought, well, what if you were to extend that experience out so as it was almost it was a musical bench where as you move through the space, you could either by proximity or by a button or by lightly striking the rings or the tines, and that you can actually generate tones. And multiple people in this space could control 3 or 4 or 5 of these tines. And so you could create a number of different sounds, and with enough people, you might even be able to start creating melody. And so the idea of supporting these tines from the bench and extending those tines up and over the visitors, people walking through, and making the activation such that it was very intuitive. And some way, we were even thinking about as you walk down the middle of the plaza, proximity sensors simply pick up your presence and then start to vibrate these tines mechanically so that they kind of hum or sing as you move through that square. So we looked at that in SketchUp. This is a very rough draft, so we need to prototype this and really see what works. And what we're trying to do is get a sense for how it feels in this space. You know, how much of a block is it, and how much of an enticement might it be, and how engaging might it be as you're walking by. So we call this just Resonant Square as a working title. So the idea here is that you create these tines and these benches. So you replace the benches that are there with benches that have resonating boxes, and these tines extend up and over you. They frame the views. They create a slightly smaller space within a space without being too intrusive to the buildings around them. So you maintain a kind of porosity in the space, but you're also filling this space with sound. And that sound is being created and manipulated and controlled by the visitors. And so you could have 4 people, 1 person, 20 kids, 30 people, each with a tine, and they would each kind of be able to play their part in the whole. This is what it might look like from the street. As you drive by, these tines are kind of extended and elegant, and with luck, as you drive by, you'll see people in there playing or manipulating those things. And even if you don't want to park and get out and go play, you get the sense that something's going on there. There's something social. There's something engaging, and the idea is that we enliven the space with sound, and the creators of that orchestration are the people that are walking through that space. The people of San Leandro can kind of cooperatively create this temporary soundscape. So that's the beginning and where we are right now. We look forward to talking to you more about the project. We're really excited about this. We've already have some ridiculously large pieces of steel that we keep around the shop, and we've been habitually beating on them, seeing what kind of sounds we can get out of them, activating them with speakers. We're really excited about the idea, and we look forward to talking to you more about it. Thanks so much.